Welcome to this episode of our program, Daily Debate. As usual, we will be discussing an important debate. Today we'll be speaking about the tourism sector or the tourism industry, where this sector has, or this segment of the Egyptian economy has been seeing some of the recent developments, including the return of the British and Russian tourists, the historic procession that was held to transfer the royal mummies into the the National Museum of Egyptian civilization. This beautiful parade that was praised and hailed by the whole world. New archaeological discoveries that has been discovered recently and put to the whole world. We've been seeing the leadership in its highest position, the president himself receiving those mummies, plus following up with all the touristic projects that are taking place in Egypt. Also, the Minister of Tourism and his activities in trying to promote Egypt, meeting with a number of Egyptian ambassadors to coordinate with them how to promote Egypt worldwide. Facilities made to the tourists in order to facilitate the procedures of coming, or of the e-visas, plus the measures taken to protect them, particularly during the coronavirus global, or this global threat. Another important development are the big and huge preparations made to prepare for the celebrations to promote Luxor as an open museum city. And the Prime Minister himself was very much keen to follow up with the developments in this issue around the clock. Tonight we'll be discussing this and more with our distinguished guest, Ahmed, Badr, tourism expert. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very much for having me, and good evening to you and to all the audience.
Thank you so much. Before we delve into our discussion, let me first take this top story. And President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi received a phone call from British Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Presidential spokesman Ambassador Bassam Radi said that during their phone call, they discussed ongoing preparations for hosting the next session of the state parties of the United Nations Climate Change Framework Convention, to be hosted in the city of Glasgow, where both agreed on the need to strengthen joint coordination between both countries to ensure positive outcome from this session in a way that boosts the international community's action in light of the current global climate crisis and the Egyptian role in climate change issues at the regional level, as well as Egypt's endeavor to host the next session of the conference during 2020. During the call, President Sisi discussed with the British Prime Minister regional and international issues of mutual concerns, as well as means of boosting bilateral relations and cooperation, specifically in the fields of defense, security and combating terrorism, as well as measures taken to activate the British tourism in Egypt. They also discussed regional issues, including the development in Libya, and stressed the importance of supporting the political track to hold the election as scheduled by the end of this year, and the exit of all foreign troops and mercenaries from the Libyan territories. The talks also tackled the development of the disputed Ethiopian dam, where President Sisi stressed the importance of reaching a fair and balanced legal agreement on the filling and operation process in a way that preserves Egypt's water security and the interests of all parties, so as to maintain regional stability, while stressing the importance of the international community's serious role in this fight, in addition to demonstrating the necessary political goodwill from all parties in the negotiation process, in line with the presidential statements issued in this regard by the UN Security Council. Moving on to our next top story of the day, and under the auspices of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, an inaugural ceremony of the World Helices Championship was held at the new administrative capital. The championship is held from the 12th till the 18th October with the participation of 350 shooters from 15 Arab and foreign countries. The participating countries are Egypt, Italy, the United States, France, England, Spain, Portugal, Argentina, Armenia, the Czech Republic, Hungary, and the United Arab Emirate, Saudi Arabia, Syria, and Libya. Worth to say that this is not the first time that Egypt hosts such an important world championship, but this is the first time that it is being hosted at the new administrative city. And that, of course, is a start or another chapter from the new republic. Before we delve into our discussion, let's first have this quick report, and President Sisi follows up tourism archaeological projects. Let's watch.
Minister of Tourism and Antiquities Khalid Anani asserted that President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is closely following up all tourism and archaeological projects, asserting that the unprecedented archaeological inaugurations witnessed in Egypt were done under President al-Sisi's directives. Anani said that President al-Sisi gave directives to provide all needed support and possible means to render these projects and ceremonies successful to reveal the real image of the Egyptian state. He said that al-Sisi's presence at the Pharaoh's Golden Parade asserts his keenness on tourism and archaeology. Anani said that the president gave directives to simplify the measures of the hotels and tourism facilities. The president also invited kings and world leaders to visit archaeological sites within the framework of promoting the Egyptian tourism and antiquities. Anani asserted the importance of safety and security achieved in Egypt under the leadership, adding that they were positively reflected on restoring tourism movement in Egypt. On preparations for inaugurating Kebesh Road in Luxor, Anani said that a ceremony like the Pharaoh's Golden Parade is being prepared to inaugurate it. He said that the museums launched in the governorates are very important, especially those in Sharm el-Sheikh and Hurghada, adding that more than 20 museums were inaugurated in the past few years. Anani said that preparations for Egypt's capital's museum were finalized and it is ready to be inaugurated. He said that he is honored to work with an exceptional generation of archaeologists who succeeded in achieving unprecedented discoveries that contributed to promoting Egypt. He said that the role of the Egyptian archaeological missions was not making discoveries only, but also renovating museums and inaugurating a big number of archaeological mosques, churches, and palaces, adding that all these activities are done under the directives of President Sisi. Egypt has managed over the past few years to restore more than 30,000 artifacts, including 22,000 archaeological coins that were illegally smuggled abroad.
Right, welcome back, and let me again welcome our guest, Ahmed Badr, a tourism expert. Thank you so much, Mr. Ahmed, for being with us.
Thank you. My pleasure always. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me start with just this ceremony that we have seen a few hours ago, and how do you view how all those ceremonies are promoting for Egypt? And let us start from this, and then we'll go through.
Well, it's known that such ceremonies and such festivals are among the best marketing material for any country. If you're looking to something like the Oscars each year, and
Yes.
how many billions they see it lively, and they see and that they imagine. Can you imagine the outcome for these people seeing the Oscars and the glory of the Oscars and the actors and the stars? And same for Cannes Film Festivals, same for Venice, same. So such things are a great marketing tool for any country, and thank God we have now two ceremonies, Guna Film Festival and of course Cairo Film Festival. It gives us, of course, a boost, a really good boost, especially of course, before the corona, now the corona is making people a little bit worried to travel, especially the big stars and Hollywood stars. But before that, we had many celebrities,
Yes, indeed.
big names, Sylvester Stallone, many big names.
Will Smith and Will Smith.
Yeah, exactly. So these people are a walking marketing material for any country. So definitely this is good. That means that Egypt is safe and stable, and we can do such big celebrations, especially the unfortunate event that happened just yesterday, just one day before the opening ceremony, the fire that
Yes.
caught at the
Yes.
main place. Now, 24 hours later, it's nothing.
It's
So
nothing.
that's
And
brilliant.
yes, indeed. They
That's
recovered
brilliant.
it very.
Exactly. This is an outcome for all of us, not just the company or Guna, just for all of us, for all of Egypt. So that's what brilliant, really.
Indeed, indeed. If we come to some of the forecasts of some of the tourism experts, where they said that tourism flow to Egypt is to recover by autumn 2022. How do you view such forecasts, or how they see the situation, so they would give such a big headline?
From what I'm seeing right now, or from what we all see in the tourism field, of course, everybody knows that from mid-March 2020 to almost mid-March 2021, tourism was almost zero, nothing. And then it started to come back step by step. First, we opened the resorts on the Red Sea, Hurghada, Sharm, Marsa Alam, started to receive some tourists from Europe. And it was a great step that I really have to praise from the Ministry of Tourism and Ministry of Health, that they took care about this particular area, and they gave the vaccine, the corona vaccine, for all of the workers over there. So that was one of the main marketing tools, and it was a really attractive point to all the tourists coming from all over the world, that they know that they are going to a place where all the workers are vaccinated against corona. That was a brilliant step from the government, I have to say. Same thing happened for Luxor and Aswan, especially for the people working in the tourism-related areas, hotels, cruises. Same thing is happening now all over Egypt. And then, almost midsummer, we witnessed the comeback of the Russian tourists again, after almost 5 years of stopping. And then we had the British government removed Egypt from the red zone, so it's now safe for them to travel to Egypt, especially the ones who are vaccinated. Right now, I have to tell you, there is a very strong comeback for Egypt in tourism, really. Very strong. It's good news. Almost October, November, and December almost full everywhere in Egypt. So that's great news. Although we are, as workers in tourism, have been sleeping for almost a year and a half now, they're waking up to go and play the final game in the World Cup. So it's, it's for us. Well, thank God, of course, but it's just sometimes it's you need some time to adapt and remember what you used to do. So
No, that's a point. That's a point that will come to, because that means that that this comeback needs preparations
Exactly.
and that there is great homework that we have to be doing.
Exactly.
We'll come to the homework. But before I go to this one, let me see how, or throughout this 1 year and a half hiatus or halt to the tourism activities. And let me take from you how, or what did Egypt do throughout this whole period to prepare for such a return? Meaning, how did we promote for Egypt discoveries that were made, events that took place? How do you view those measures or those steps or those activities taken by the Egyptian state, and not speaking only about the Ministry of Tourism, rather the whole state integrally?
Well, during the past year and a half, I think you cannot just point to any country in the world and you can say in a confidence that they did the right scenario. They were good, they prevented, they were excellent. No, I don't think so. No country in the world. Each country did its own scenario based on their based on what they saw, based on what they see, based on what they have. But I have to say Egypt's scenario was perfect looking into our conditions. We did not close totally. And then it proved we were right, because there are other countries that they closed totally and still they didn't prevent the virus. So it was half closure. Some of the activities, of course, affected. The number one, of course, was tourism and restaurants and cafes and this, kind of business for a while, and then they reopened again. And looking to the numbers of the infections in Egypt, looking to the official numbers, of course, it's extremely low. But then, even if you multiply them by 20 or 30, like the officials, some of the officials say, at the end you'll find that not more than 5% of the whole population got infected with the virus. So these numbers, the low infections, the fact that
are you questioning here why are we put on the red territory for some of the countries? Despite the low number of infections that we have in return to or vis-a-vis the numbers we are hearing worldwide?
It's a question. Maybe they will answer. Definitely they will not.
I think so.
Anyway, so that's, in the international media, alongside with the fact that Egypt was opened just 3 or 4 months after the great closure of the world, we started to have some people starting, I think, October or November 2020, traveling to Egypt just because they want to travel, because people in most of the countries, especially Europe, they really hated this closure. So whomever could travel, he traveled. And which country is open? It was Egypt. So they came. It was a safe trip. They came back. They went back, and they said very positive comments. Besides all the news about Egypt and media, it was positive. If you talk about the excavations and the great discoveries that was done, especially last year, in archaeological point of view, this is of course perfect. Each archaeological site you discover, it adds a piece of our the puzzle of our history, so you know more about our history. In tourism, I have to say many of these places are not in an interest for the tourists, but they serve us again on putting Egypt on the media in a positive way. So discoveries and events and celebrations means it's safe. We are working. We're not affected either in security point of view or in a healthy point of view. So, and again, and of course, when you mentioned that in the opening of the episode, the parade of the royal mummies, I think, or maybe I'm sure, that this parade was the highlight of Egypt that make people now want to come and see it, want to come and see Egypt, want to come, what's going on.
It was a breathtaking one.
It was, even for us.
Yes.
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 Every now and then I still watch the song, Isis song. It's brilliant. And from here, really, I have to say, for all the officials, please make use of this song. Make use of this music.
Not just the song, the whole celebration was
Exactly.
breathtaking one.
Why,
all the
why don't
coordination
you
and all
do the same thing and add other things in a concert at the pyramids or at the Museum of Civilization or in one of the temples in Egypt? Do this 2-3 times a year. People will fly. People want to hear just saying this opera, not, well, it's an Egyptian opera. It's in an ancient Egyptian language. Come and listen to the ancient Egyptian language. This will attract people. This is what the kind of attractions we want. This is the kind of attractions that will attract people from all over the world.
So I guess another one would be on the way, with Egypt preparing for huge celebration to promote Luxor as an open museum city.
Yes.
Let's watch this report.
Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli has said that Egypt has been preparing for a huge celebration to promote Luxor city as a major tourist destination. Madbouli's remarks came during his visit to Luxor to inspect a number of projects being implemented in the tourism, service and development fields. The Prime Minister said that the large projects that the state is currently implementing to revive a number of archaeological areas in Luxor will make this city an open museum that attracts the attention of tourists from all over the world. The Prime Minister inspected the excavations under part of the building of the Church of the Virgin Mary, in which the Ministry of Antiquities found 3 distinct rams, including one of the most magnificent statues of rams found in this site. Madbouli and his accompanying delegation also inspected the Karnak Temple, where he listened to an explanation from Minister of Tourism and Antiquities Khalid Al-Anani about the development work in the temple. Al-Anani explained that the Karnak Temple's visitor center had been comprehensively developed in terms of renewing paints and lighting and floors. The Prime Minister directed the completion of the works of renovating the tiles in the courtyards associated with the temple. Madbouli also witnessed the restoration work of a ram's head that was discovered, as well as the restoration of a number of columns in the Karnak temple. Al-Anani indicated that the restoration team also restored the largest known statue of King Thutmose II in front of the 8th edifice of the Karnak temple. The restoration work will be completed before the end of October. Al-Anani has also explained that the project to discover and prepare the road of Rams in Luxor is one of the most important archaeological projects undertaken by the state in order to transform Luxor into the largest open museum in the world by linking the temples of Karnak, Luxor, Mut, and the ruins of ancient Thebes.
Welcome back, and back to you, Mr. Badr. And yes, it's Luxor is another beauty in Egypt.
Of course.
Luxor and Aswan and this Nubian area, it's very particular. I hope one day I can go.
You will.
So, returning back to this this preparation for this celebration, and how do you view work that is done there, and how do you view the idea that Luxor would be an open museum city?
Luxor, we all know it has 1/3 of the world's open monuments. And definitely discovering the avenue and the Sphinx's headed rams, in which they used to call it the celebration way, because it's connecting Luxor Temple and Karnak Temple. It's about 2.7 kilometers. Both sides there are statues in a shape, some of them in the shape of rams, some of them in shape of the Sphinx.
Yes.
And we are looking very much forward for this grand celebration that I think it will be around the beginning of November. That will turn Luxor to an open-air museum. Open-air museum means that you just go from a place to a place, and it's all around you. It's the treasures and the monuments of Luxor, and which I can say for those who didn't go, you must go and see it. It is an amazing place. It is an amazing city, and of course, the whole area, Luxor, Aswan, between, even north of Luxor, even in Minya, we have many places that are more than beautiful. It's breathtaking, and the history, and just stand there and you just imagine how
You can imagine Luxor by night and how dazzling it would be in the morning.
And this definitely will serve something. Visiting Luxor by night, especially in summertime. Of course, Luxor in summertime, it's burning hot in the morning, especially July and August. So for tourists come to visit Luxor in this weather, definitely, of course, it's very low numbers. But if we have something like that, definitely we will have more tourists come that they know they can visit these places by night. So imagine just you don't have to go in the morning in the weather of 45 degrees. You can just easily go by night when it's a little nicer, 35 or something, which is you can bear. And we are waiting for a grand celebration like the Mummy's celebration.
Yes.
Nowadays, this will definitely help us, and definitely will help the tourism to Egypt and Egypt to boost again. You know, something like that will be aired. Everybody will talk about it. The whole world.
Yes. I have two questions because I'm running out of time, and I need to tackle them. The first one: how do the world see the keenness of the leadership itself to follow up with all the developments that are occurring, particularly in this sector, not only, of course, definitely in all Egypt, but also in tourism, and the homework that we should be doing in order to prepare for a comeback, hopefully?
Well, first thing, the world seen all these developments, of course. I'll talk about some organization like the UNESCO, which is more into this. They really appreciate what the government is doing. This is not just our history. This is the world's history. It's humanity history. So, and it is our treasure. It is our pride. So definitely taking care of these places and put them introduce them in a way that the right way, like the report, what was going on in the restoration of Karnak temples. It's amazing, really. You know, when you, if you see them before and after, the colors and everything, it's just amazing. And the great thing is, it's all done by Egyptian hands.
Yes.
Even the material itself that they are using, it was invented by an Egyptian archaeologist. So in the future, we can sell our expertise in this to the world. So this is something we can benefit.
But I meant here the homework.
The homework, well, receiving this big comeback for tourism to Egypt, we have many challenges, both in the tourism sector itself and, of course, the government. Of course, I know I don't have time to talk about many things, but
just name two.
Yeah, well,
because I have to end it.
In tourism sector, I would emphasize about training to have the clients come back. In government, we need some flexibility in many areas, especially receiving the clients, the tourists at the airports. The Egyptian government, and they have all the rights, they asked for people coming with a PCR test, a negative PCR test, with a QR code, which is just 2 or 3 countries in the world they do it. So the others, they don't. So, and then the
So we're speaking here about facilitating the procedures of receiving people.
Exactly. And after receiving people as well.
And after receiving people. So we can be able to take...
Make things easier, facilitate things, make it a comfortable trip for the people.
Yes.
Even you can benefit from some things like this PCR. They ask some of the people to go to other countries and do the PCR.
Let's make it...
Why don't you make it here
Please.
And benefit out of it?
Wait, I have to end it here. Because my time is out here. Mr. Ahmed Badr, Tourist Secretary, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Dear viewers, next debate will be on Sunday. So until Sunday, with another colleague and another important debate, it's good night.